Today on Checkpoint, it's just me. That's not really much to do. Yeah, Checkpoint. Hey everybody, welcome to Checkpoint. Or rather, Chat Point. Hanging out, talking about video game news point. Yeah. And now you know why we usually turn off the sub notifier when we do Checkpoint, or when we don't have, why we don't have the sub notifier when we do Checkpoint, because it makes its own noises during the intro and outro. So how's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a good Monday, Labor Day, supposedly. I don't know what that means. I should probably look that up. Why is this the day we celebrate labor? Because apparently we needed to celebrate that by not laboring. I don't know. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to Checkpoint. Today we're just going to be talking about, as I said, as you saw in the tweet and the description and stuff, Graham and Kathleen are still down at PAX West. But obviously stuff still happened, right? So I figured we could just talk about some of the things that did happen. Although when I say stuff did happen, because of PAX, so on related stuff, the news is maybe what you would call a little thin on the ground this week. We've talked about this before on Checkpoint, is that you would think that like E3 is coming out, E3 comes out and it's like boom, huge expansion, huge chunk of Checkpoint news, or Tokyo Game Show or whatever. But it's not really like that, because like the stories that come out of conventions or big events like E3 or whatever, the stories that come out of them, while exciting for people, they're generally in the form of like, this thing exists, we're gonna be making a new whatever game, or there's this new peripheral, or here are the specs for this console, which is important information that people are interested in, but there isn't really a lot there for the sort of Checkpoint to make fun of. So we tend to it tends to be a little tricky, but one thing we should talk about news. I mean, there's a couple of news things that came out of PAX, and the most important of which, as Beowulf in the forum says, Desert Bus VR, DBVR. Very weird thing that's happening. That Gearbox announced, I think on Saturday, and we were sort of Graham and James were sort of involved in the announcement for it. And yeah, apparently a real thing. But why? I don't know. I think so. We actually heard about this a long time ago. Like, we actually talked to them. We had like they didn't get like us to consult on it or anything, but we had like a phone conference with Gearbox about it. And basically the idea was that, from what I understand, what it is that Penn was working with Gearbox to do sort of try to do Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors, but like actually do it, because of course Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors didn't come out. And so, not necessarily do smoke and mirrors, but do that kind of thing, like do sort of a joke game compilation, or do some sort of fun stuff. And the first thing, apparently, that the majority of people asked them when they said that they were going to do this was, are you going to have a new version of Desert Bus? And they were like, I guess so. Penn, being the rather boisterous person that he is, shall we say, I believe on his podcast, somebody asked about that, and he was like, yes, we're going to do that. And Gearbox was like, okay, apparently we're going to do that. So yeah, they talked to us a little bit about it, just basically being like, you know, what, not even like what would you want to improve, but just like, is there anything we can do to make it better for your purposes? And so I don't know whether or how much the Desert Bus VR will show up at Desert Bus for Hope, the event. But yeah, it's a thing that really exists. And yeah, if you see the announcement trailer or the announcement panel they did at PAX, James was off in the corner playing Desert Bus VR as the I believe world Desert Bus champion. I think it's reasonable to say that James has played Desert Bus more than anybody else in the world, which is it is a feat. It's not necessarily a good feat, but it is a thing that he has done. James has played it more than all of us because James is one of, I think he's the only driver that has driven every year for Desert Bus, and he's also driven first every year, and he's sometimes driven twice in the year because he's had to drive again at the end. So yeah, that is a thing. Anyway, that was a piece of news that was happening. Yeah, very very interesting. But on to other news. So these are just, so for those of you who don't know, part of the process for doing actual checkpoint, like doing the checkpoint. Here, wait, I better switch to. There, now we're ready for checkpoint. So part of the process for doing checkpoint, for doing the regular show, is that over the week that over the week leading up to the Monday, I have a variety of sort of news feeds and stuff that I look at. You know, Kotaku, Polygon, Gamasutra, Ars Technica, a variety of video game news, online news sources that I look at, and then and I sort of mark stories that I think are look interesting to me, or look like they could have some potential for a checkpoint story. I share those with Graham and Kathleen, and then both sort of leading up to, and especially on the Monday, we sort of go through the stories and decide which ones we actually want to use. So I figured in this context, today, you all can act as Graham and Kathleen, in the sense of I'll tell you about what stories I have going on, and you can evaluate them as to whether they're any good or not. So, can't tilt this down a little. Whoop! Can't tilt it down. Can't tilt it down. There's a thing there. Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit. Wait. So seamless. Wait, that was focus. Boom. Ha! I'm bigger now. Okay. So, the first story I saw here, this was actually just came out this morning, that the Walking Dead is making a augmented reality. They're making an augmented reality game for The Walking Dead, called The Walking Dead: Our World, by Next Games, and what I like is that it's sort of being marketed as like it's The Walking Dead, or it's like Pokemon Go, but you know, for The Walking Dead. And I don't know, there's something about that. It's like Pokemon Go, except for instead of adorable Pokemon monsters, there's actual zombies everywhere. Whee! So it's like The Walking Dead, except apocalypse. Like, there's no, like, I guess my issue with it is that, like, in the Pokemon world, the world is doing great or fine, and you go off and you're a excited little kid and go off and do Pokemon and capture Pokemon and stuff. In the world of The Walking Dead, or basically any world in which there is a zombie outbreak, the zombies go along with, like, global catastrophe, right? So you're like going around and, you know, you use your phone and you can find things, and apparently, supposedly the AR type stuff is actually much more sophisticated than Pokemon Go. Who knows? You know, they did one of those trailer things where it's like, you don't really know how much of this is real, how much of this is simulated experience. But yeah, anyway, the idea that, like, for whatever reason, the world that is being depicted in this game that you're playing is a world in which, because it's augmented reality, right? So it's a world where everything is great or normal. The world is just like it is now, except everywhere there are zombies for some reason. I love this. The quote for the press release is, "First of a kind location based augmented reality game that will allow you to fight walkers on the streets, in the park, on your sofa, wherever and whenever you feel like it." Which, it's like, yeah, you could have zombies whenever you want. Like, never. How about? Anyway, all right. The other thing, so we've talked a few times. Oh, yeah, especially on the couch. Yeah, that's what I really want. I want zombies on the couch. Zombies on the lawn. Now that's a good thing. All right. So we've mentioned these kinds of stories before, and I just liked a couple aspects of this particular one. So Mario Maker, which we've did some streams of like a long time ago. As you may know, there's a whole thing with making like the hardest levels you could possibly make in Mario Maker. But the problem is, or the trick is that in order to actually upload a really difficult level that you've made in Mario Maker, you have to beat it at least once, right? The person who makes the level, or the person who makes the level has to beat it at least once. That's to stop people from just uploading impossible levels, right? So there's this wonderful video of this guy named Failstream, and he made a very impressive very difficult level, and he's been working on trying to beat it Apparently, he has over 400 hours of things trying to beat it. And I just wanted to play for you so he has beaten it and uploaded it now. And just I just wanted to play for you the end of the video of him beating this thing, because I don't think I have ever seen anyone as happy to do something as this guy, especially as happy to beat a thing that he himself made. Check this out. All right, this is just the ending of the video I'll do here. As you can see how ridiculous this level is. This is only one teeny weeny part of the stupid ridiculousness that is this level. You can see all this chat people going crazy because he's about to beat it.
I did it! I fucking did it! Yes! Oh! It's over! It's fucking over! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! I fucking won! Oh! It's done! It's done! It's done! Oh my god, I fucking won! I fucking won finally! Holy shit! Holy shit!
Anyway, I just love that. He's just so very happy that he's so very happy that he beat something that he himself made. At any point, he could have gone in and made it easier for himself, but no, he didn't. All right. There's a really interesting article, or interesting if you are interested in this kind of stuff, which I would hope you are if you're watching this, about a preview that they showed a preview release of the new, because I think we talked about last week or the week before that Final Fantasy 15 is coming out for PC in 2018. And part of the thing, like, not only, so it's going to be coming out and they're going to they're going to be like adding some stuff. They're going to make it 4K resolution. They're going to be hopefully, you know, making it better in various ways. And so at PAX West, they had a preview demo of it, just as they're working on it, a little part. And there's an interesting article on Ars Technica that was talking about, and they talking about, like, okay, sure, this is early days, that this isn't supposed to come out to 2018, so they have some time to work on this, but basically going, oh boy, does it need some work, because yeah, it's a little has some issues apparently. For one thing, the frame rate is completely, the guy was talking about how, like, the frame rate is, like, really bad, like it doesn't maintain 30 frames a second for a lot of parts of it, which is saying obviously can be improved, but it's weird because because the PlayStation and the new current consoles are basically computers, right? They are computers, but they use a lot of the same components as computers, desktop computers do, to the extent that the dev boxes for them, for like the PlayStation 4, the dev box for it before the PlayStation 4 was released was just a computer with some special stuff in it. And he's saying he played Final Fantasy 15 back in 2015, like a dev version of Final Fantasy 15 that was being developed on just a regular computer, on a PC, for the upcoming PlayStation 4, and it played a lot better than this. It played a lot better than this version that they're porting now, which is a little concerning. I dropped a bunch of... Oh, wow. I did drop some frames there. Sorry about that. Is it better now, I hope? I don't know why I dropped frames. Is it better now? Yeah, okay. Apparently it's all good now. The other thing was that, like, it's current. One of the big things for the PC version is that it's supposed to be running at 4K, or it's supposed to be able to run at 4K, which it's not right now in the version that they demoed. Basically, he's saying that, like, yeah, this is an early demo, lots of time to clean things up. They should not have demoed it. Like, this was too... If this was what it was like, it was too early to demo. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Maybe they shouldn't have not done that. All right. Stories. So we've talked about the sort of mainstreaming of esports in the past on Checkpoint. You know, there's things like sports universities giving sports scholarships, some of which are kind of bullshit in terms of what you get. But there's been a push to have esports represented at the Olympics. In fact, the organizers of the 2024 Olympics in Paris have indicated that esports might be part of the thing. And what I find particularly interesting about this is this was actually something that this came up just here at the office a couple of weeks ago. When this news was sort of like first being teased. We had kind of a debate here at the office, like talking about esports, right? And it's like the visceral reaction is like, what? That's ridiculous. There shouldn't be esports at the Olympics. But then it's like, okay, so what's the cutoff, right? What defines a sport that has to be that is Olympic level and what doesn't, right? Should, like, for instance, chess. People have been trying to get chess into the Olympics for quite a few years, for a long time. I think it even may have been an exhibition sport once or twice. Like, what defines an Olympic sport and what should be the requirement for an Olympic sport, right? And by all sorts of definitions of sports, like, you can point to a lot of sports in the Olympics that couldn't really be considered to be more of a sport than most esports. So that's an interesting argument back and forth about that. Something that I find kind of interesting. But what's funny is that we had this kind of argument. We had this discussion about whether esports should be considered a sport, and that discussion went up that discussion went back and forth right up to the point where you keep reading the article and you go, well, and when the first sports that they'll be looking at for esports are like sports that are actual sports, so FIFA, NBA, 2K, whatever, Madden or whatever, like actual sports, but video game sports. And it's like, and at that point, it's totally ridiculous. Like, at that point, it's totally silly, right? Like, there's the argument for actually the big sports, or the big esports. there's possibly some arguments for including them in terms of like bringing up, certainly bringing up sort of younger viewers, or showing different types of things that people may not have seen before. But this is literally the like video game version of a sport that will actually be happening. That's one. Two, none of those sports are actually that popular as esports, right? Like if you look at like Twitch streaming, if you look at any actual esports events, the sports types game like FIFA and NBA and NHL and Madden, or you know, all the actual games that are real sports aren't very popular as esports with people who enjoy watching esports. So yeah, it's not a thing. Yeah, they should just play like I like we were saying there. Yeah, they should just play Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, or play like one of the other like Olympic video games at the Olympics. It's just anyway. The debate about whether esports should be at the Olympics or not is actually, to me, kind of an interesting idea. I don't think there's anything fundamentally different about esports than there is about other sports that are included in the Olympics. But I think that it does represent whether you want, it represents a change in the direction. It's like, what do you want the Olympics to be? Like, should it be? Like, obviously, every sport is not represented in the Olympics. Like, it's hard to imagine criteria that classify esports, or the criteria that classify things like dressage as a sport for the Olympics that don't also come in esports. But anyway. So anyway, that's kind of a fun thing to think about. There's a game coming out called The Escapists 2, unrelated to the website, which is about you do like prison breaks and stuff. Just it's kind of cool. One of the Easter eggs that they have in it, sort of Easter egg things, is that a bunch of popular YouTubers are in the game as because it populates the game with sort of semi-randomly procedurally generated people, little NPCs going around doing stuff. Yeah, this is a game that's out right now. So one of the things about it is that it's got this kind of Easter egg where big YouTubers are in the game, right? So sometimes the people it generates will be actually like little representations of YouTubers, and they have decided to that they've gotten a little bit of backlash about this, and so people. And so they're going to be adding an option that you can remove that. So people feel that it kind of messes with the like suspension of disbelief, or they happen to not like that particular YouTuber, I guess, could be part of it. And so they have decided they decided to have an option to remove the random YouTubers showing up in your game, which I kind of get that. On the other hand, they have part of the reason why they put these people in the first place is that it's a game that does have a really strong sort of YouTube Let's Play culture to it, and a lot of the success of the game has been credited to various YouTubers and stuff. So I don't know. I could go back and forth on it, but it's funny that it's got to the point where people are complaining such that they've decided to add an option to remove it. The idea that that people find seeing these YouTubers in their game to be so offensive. Capcom is re-releasing Street Fighter 2, the original Street Fighter 2, not Turbo, not Super, not the original Street Fighter 2. They're re-releasing it for Super Nintendo in a limited edition Super Nintendo cart. A real working Super Nintendo cart in red, in Ryu red or Blanca green. I believe it's like semi-transparent Blanca green. They're doing a print run of 5,500 copies for $100 each. So for $100, you can have an either red or green. You don't get to decide the color; it's random. You can have a red or green original Street Fighter 2 cart. The funny part about this, so some of the funny things about this. One, the first thing is that I love that there's a ton of comments. Like I saw the story on Polygon. The same story has been on various other places, but there's a ton of comments in the thing because Capcom is, especially with the Street Fighter franchise, is known to shall we say, milk things a little bit. Especially with the different editions that they did, and they made people sort of rebuy each time. And so there's a lot of comments. People were like, "Oh, great! You found a way to make people buy Street Fighter 2 yet again. Good job, guys." Also, $100 for the cart, especially because they're obviously targeting like collectors. Because if you're not a collector, you can just emulate it. So they're targeting collectors, and it's $100 for the cart, but it's random which of the two colors you get. So of course, if you're a collector, you either have to get both, or you have to like buy them until you get the one in the color that you want. And then, so on top of that, there's this bit of extra text on the page, on the store page, this kind of legal disclaimer that says that these replica cartridges are to be used at your own risk, and they'd have no responsibility if your Super Nintendo lights on fire. This is a real thing on their website. There's little text at the bottom, very seriously saying this, that they absolve themselves of responsibility if this cart causes your Super Nintendo light on fire. I can only sue, and the only thing that I've been able to, I did some looking up on this, and basically I think what it is that they say that it's like, basically, if somebody's Super Nintendo has been in the closet for 20 years and covered in dust, and because of this cart, they pull out this old Super Nintendo, plug it in, stick the cart in, and somehow it overheats, they don't want to be held responsible for that. That's all. Like, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly flammable about this cart. It doesn't seem like this cart has like something amazing in it, that like some sort of crazy coprocessor that makes it run really hot, or that it's made out of asbestos, whatever the opposite of asbestos is. Extremely flammable stuff. It's not made out of, I don't know, oil or something. But yeah, it says that they're, so I somehow that's like, I think it's just weird lawyer ass covering, but it's so strangely innocuous that like most of the stories I've seen about this thing have mentioned that, and like somewhat prominently. They made carts in the wrong voltage, which could cause your system to overheat and catch fire. Really? Is that true? I didn't hear about that. IM 8-bit is known for disappointing product releases. I did not know that. So, I don't know. Take that as you will. If for some reason you desperately need original Street Fighter 2 on a cartridge, it will be available. Just be careful about your Super Nintendo. Nintendo, for the original Wii, okay, way back in the day, or not even that back in the day, but back a long time ago, when the original Wii came out, Nintendo had a lot of not blowback, but they had a lot of people coming after them for patents related to basically everything about it, but mostly related to like the motion controller and stuff. I guess it's because it was one of the first things it was one of the first products that was like really hugely popular that used motion control technology so prominently, and they had people coming out of the woodwork with patents about motion control stuff, and it went back and forth a fair amount. And so they've been dealing with like multiple lawsuits over the like since the Wii came out. And they'll be like, there'll be a story about, it's like, hey, this lawsuit has been thrown out, or this lawsuit has been, whatever, dealt with over and over and over again. The most recent one is there's a lawsuit by iLife Technology, who says that they have a patent on the Wii motion tracking. I have no idea. Apparently, they filed the lawsuit in 2013. I don't know why they were so late on doing it. But they have lost this lawsuit and have been forced to pay $10 million in damages to iLife Technology, and which is like, I mean, I get like it's bad. I would guess that Nintendo has spent way more than $10 million working on these various lawsuits, and I feel like $10 million, when you talk about like the magnitude of how popular the Wii was, I feel like $10 million is a relative drop in the bucket, and they're just like, whatever, it's fine. So very, very weird. Totally, it's like, I guess, congratulations, guys, you got $10 million out of Nintendo. And yeah, they'll probably appeal it or whatever. Okay. In advance of so if you have an iOS device, such as an iPhone or something, you may have been getting a notice on programs that if you've got some, especially older programs, you may have been getting a thing being like, FYI, this is an old app and it needs to be updated or it might stop working in the near future when you upgrade to iOS 11. That's because iOS 11 is 64-bit only, which is one of those things that has various benefits that are kind of hard to explain, and to the consumer often ends up being just like more. It's like, so the thing that I had doesn't work anymore because you made a change. Yes. Why did you make that change? Because it's better. In what way? In a myriad of ways that I can't really articulate very well but trust us, it's a good thing that we made this change. But all your old stuff doesn't work anymore. It's like... So obviously there's a lot of old games on the iOS store that are running into this problem. And in particular, this story I was reading was 2K has announced that a bunch of their games that's including, well, Carnival games, which you probably don't care about, Ace Patrol, Sid Meier's Pirates, Haunted Hollow, WWE 2K, that are just going to... And so I almost missed, most importantly, the Duke Nukem Forever soundboard are all games that are 32-bit and I guess are not considered to be important enough or making enough money to bother to update. So they're just going to be actually removing them from the store to avoid the tech support headaches. They are also going to be removing the XCOM game for iOS, but they have assured people that that's only they're going to remove it and then update it to 64-bit and re-release it. So hopefully they will do that. And something I just thought of is that I hope they're going to do that and they're not going to release it as like a new different game like XCOM Plus so that you have to rebuy it. I bet they're gonna do that. Those bastards. They're totally gonna do that, aren't they? XCOM XL. Okay. In the realm of there's a lot of we do talk about sometimes on Checkpoint about games that have to be changed because things are put into them that are sort of culturally insensitive or are not a very they mess up something or don't do their research properly and they put something in the game that isn't very good. There's this great story that I was reading on Kotaku where Overwatch just came out with a new map called Junkertown, which is sort of with Junkrat and those guys. And it's supposed to be set in it's sort of post-apocalyptic Australia is what it appears to be, and there's a sign in it. There's like a shop in it, and there's a sign that says takeout on the top of the store because it's a takeout store. Apparently, in Australia, they say takeaway, not takeout. And so Blizzard has gotten... Now, what I like about this is that there have been lots of legitimate, cases where things have been put in games that have been actually bad or offensive to people and stuff. But what I like about this is that, like, a ton of Australian people have been really giddy on Blizzard's case about this. Being like, it's take away. We say take away in Australia. And so a bunch of people are getting on Blizzard's case about this, and so they have, and so they're like, don't worry, we're gonna fix this. And in fact, on Reddit, Jeff Kaplan, the one of the lead developers for Overwatch, says, I'd like to offer a direct apology. I'd like to offer a direct apology to the entire country of Australia. Please forgive our cultural insensitivity. We will fix this in an upcoming patch. The signed travesty will most likely go live for some period before it gets fixed. I have also been told by Muslek that our coffees are too large. We are learning. We are trying. So, anyway. Yeah, so they're gonna be they're gonna be putting out a patch to change it from takeout to takeaway. So don't worry about it if you are in Australia and you're seeing that and it's confusing you and you're forgetting where you are in the world as you look at the game. Don't worry, they're gonna be fixing it. All right. Something that you can get excited about is that well, to help you get excited about, obviously Destiny 2 is coming out very soon, and we're going to be doing a whole bunch of Destiny on Wednesday, which is release date for Destiny. And unlike, so one of the things that people complained about, or one of the things that people complained about with Destiny was that there wasn't a ton of stuff to do in it, other than like the sort of big raids and stuff, especially at the beginning. A lot of the sort of extra content was kind of repetitive, kind of, go here, kill a bunch of guys, go here, kill a bunch of guys. And so one of the big things that they've done with Destiny 2 is they've really tried to expand that and make a lot of the sort of quote-unquote filler content, or the content that you're going to be, that aren't the big raids, more interesting and diverse, doing more different types of jobs, doing more interesting things. So that's going to be really good. And they've also said that the first actual raid is going to go live only a week after, or a week after the launch day of the game. So the next Wednesday. So this Wednesday the game launches, and then the Wednesday after that, Wednesday the September 13th, is when the first raid will launch. So there's like a week of time in there where you can kind of dance around and do all the silly things, all the little side quest stuff, prepping yourself for the first raid, which seems pretty sweet. So Sonic Forces is the new Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's supposed to be quite good, from what I understand. But or not supposed to be. It will be. It hasn't actually come out yet. But one of the things that they've talked about is that they're doing they're going to be doing costumes. They're going to be doing built-in costumes in the game. And one of them is here. Let me put this up. They're going to be putting Persona 5 and Jet Set Radio costumes in the game, so you can look like weird Persona Sonic with weird human hands. I don't know why that looks so weird, but it's like Sonic always has like the sort of, flesh-colored muzzle or skin, or bare muzzle and ears, but somehow giving him like sort of regular human-colored hands is just seems wrong in some way. I can only hope that you're going to be like ripping off your mask along with a portion of your face in the process of being Sonic. Also, a lot of people have there's been a great stream of people talking about how this isn't actually Sonic dressed up as the Joker costume, isn't dressed up as Akira, I think it is. This is actually one of the Persona characters. This is actually their fursona, right? So it's not Sonic dressed up as them. It's the person from Persona dressed up as Sonic, because that's how they feel more comfortable. And finally, well, possibly finally, again, we've talked about this before, that Steam, so Steam doesn't normally allow, adult games, as in like porn games, on their system. The problem is what is an adult game is pretty loosely defined. 'Cause, I mean, there are a lot of games that are on Steam that one would definitely consider to be adultish. And then there are games that are like relatively tame, that have good run into trouble from Steam. Basically, it seems to be, as with a lot of stuff with Steam, Valve does kind of do the hands-off thing, where basically they don't seem to do too much about it unless something gets really popular. So there's a game called Strangers in a Strange Land, which is a point-and-click adventure game starring Billy, who is on vacation with his he's a college student, on vacation with his step-family, and some of the stuff he does on vacation involves sexy times. You apparently go through some puzzles and unlock cutscenes with nudity and sex, which appears to be the game's main point. So it got pulled off of. So it's basically like a porn game, right? It's got some sort of fairly perfunctory, strange puzzles in it, and then you do that and you unlock cutscenes where people are having sex. If that's what you want, okay, cool. But a little while ago, it was they got kicked off Steam because they're like, no, we don't want porn games. So it's now back on Steam. Whenever there's a scene with sexual content, a massive red square covering the majority of the screen that says censored on it will appear. And I can show you. Like that. Appears in the middle of the screen, showing, telling you that it's censored. So, problem solved. And then, they've also, when you start the game, it says that it does have nudity and sexual actions. And it says there is a link, like in the description, to a patch that will re-add or take away the box. So, kind of doing the, like, letter of the law thing. I have to say that, like, my favorite sort of censoring from somebody did on Steam was, I'm trying to remember what the name of the game is now. there's a game that came out a little while ago. From what I heard, it was quite good, but they in order, because again they got in trouble with Steam for sexual content. The way they dealt with it was they added a mode that puts everybody in Christmas sweaters. So that's a fun way of doing it. Alrighty. Lady Killer in Bind. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, South Park actually, the Stick of Truth, and probably the new one as well, had a different thing where, because of region issues, or things that are okay in one region, not another, they had some of the cutscenes they had to replace with something else in, I think, in Australia and Germany and possibly other places. And so they replaced, like in Australia, they replaced it with a picture of a crying koala. And so to try and sort of to sort of get around that stuff. Okay, so yeah, that's those are all the stories that I marked this week. Like I said, a little thin on the ground this week. Some of those are stretching a little bit, but yeah, Germany, as we all, well, I don't know if we all know, but as is a common thing in Germany, is they're not big on the whole swastikas and reference to Nazis and stuff. So, yeah. Yay! So, that is news. That is all the news that was fit to print. And then take from print and put online, and then go online and talk to you about. So, yeah, I didn't actually have too much more planned for this stream. Any games you're looking for that release in the last week / this week? Firelight. I don't know if that was intentional, but you have given me an excellent segue for New Day Tuesday, which, if you're keeping score, is tomorrow, because today is Monday. And assuming things go according to plan, tomorrow will be Tuesday. I'm going to be playing Knack 2. Naka 2. Which is a game that I don't know anything about, really. I haven't played Knack 1, but I saw the trailer for it during at the E3, and it looked really cool and looked kind of up my alley. I like the platforming type games. I love this. The description I got from the Wikipedia page, this is actually from the developer, saying it's got elements of Crash Bandicoot, Katamari Damacy, and God of War. And I was like, that sounds like a great game. That's all things that I like. I have heard that Knack 1 was neat. There was like a neat idea, but had a lot of issues. And they talked about that apparently I don't know. Supposedly things are better in Knack 2. That's all. So we shall see whether it is actually any better. If it isn't, well, then I guess we'll just have to go through it. We'll just power through together. And if it is better, then that will be fun too. In fact, one might argue that would be more fun because then the game will be fun. And then, of course, on Wednesday, as I mentioned previously, it's Destiny 2 launch day. So, from 9 a.m. till all the time. I don't know when they're going to stop. Possibly never. But, they're going to be playing Destiny 2. When I say they, I mean people other than me. But I'm sure lots of people will be playing in a variety of different ways and places. I know Graham is pretty excited about it, as you might guess. So everyone should be back from PAX at that point, by the way. And then we're back to 18 games and counting on Thursday. And LRR MTG and Talking Simulator, as usual. I don't know what Talking Simulator will be. And then on Friday, all going according to plan, we are back doing the crapshoot, and we're going to be doing our first AFK in the new moon base. What that AFK is, I think I know. I probably shouldn't say, though, because I might be wrong, and I don't want to either disappoint you or get your hopes up, depending on what you're thinking it is. So, but yes, the crapshoot and AFK, all going according to plan. We still have some work to do, but if we can, we're going to be doing the crapshoot and AFK on Friday. And yeah, and then and for those of you who didn't see it, this is not not this weekend coming up, but next weekend is the pre-release on the 16th, I believe it is. On the Saturday, we will be doing the whatever the Ixalan, right? Ixalan pre-release on the 16th, and so that's gonna be super cool. We got a great group of a great group of guests coming, and we're gonna be obviously doing it in the new moon base, because we can't do it in the old moon base because we're not there anymore, and it's probably like all different now. Who knows? So that will be super cool. Get to check out these pirate dinosaurs or whatever the heck is going to go on with that. And yeah, so obviously no Beej and Ian, no Tinker Tailor or Matters of Import tonight, but we'll be doing New Day Tuesday. I'll be doing New Day Tuesday, playing some Knack 2 this tomorrow. So that's starting at noon, going until whenever we get tired of Knack 2. So maybe going until 12:30. Oh, Knack burn. Oh yeah, and as Doodles the Great says, we have finally actually announced when Desert Bus 11 will be happening, or Desert Bus 2017, or Desert Bus next. Should do the Mario thing and just call it the new Desert Bus, and then every year it's the new Desert Bus. So it's actually a totally stupid title. Yeah, DB 2017 is going to be on the 17th of November. So should be fun. Should be fun. Well, hopefully it'll be fun. And actually, and on related Desert Bus news, if you are if you somebody who wasn't able to, who's part of the Desert Bus Kickstarter, and wasn't able to watch the screening last week, we are going to keep an eye on your email and stuff. We're going to be looking at booking in a sort of rebroadcast or another broadcast of that that's at a more European, more GMT type time that might be more convenient for some people. So thank you everybody for joining me on this little relaxing chat point. Chat point. And and I have to welcome subs. Dude, almost forgot to welcome subs. Oh dear. Such a thing cannot stand. Let's see here. Let's see what we got going on. Oh. We got 1 or 2 subs. In fact, I would put forward that we have more than 1 or 2 subs. We've got, wait, no, not that person. That's the wrong person. We have Thandrez for 7 months. Thank you for subscribing. Fitzer458 for 4 months. Thank you for subscribing. Haramus for 1 whole year. This year, people from the DB Survivors chat met for the 2nd time in Europe. Thanks for creating an environment where friendships can go across borders and oceans. Well, thank you so much for using it that way. Vic Zilla for 11 months. Check all the points. Nadriashi for 35 months. The Figment for 22 months. Chill Point with Paul sounds like an excellent end to my weekend. To my extended weekend. You're welcome. Quinton Dreaming for 9 months. Good luck with the new moon base. You're welcome. Wait, no, thank you. Life Character for 11 months. In a world where points aren't checked, only one man can save us. Checkpoint man. Captain Spam for 40 months. Onion Bobs! Onion Bobs! Keep It Lobster for 11 months says Check Paul. Agrarius for 13 months. This is my lucky number. Zagrog for 29 months. More sub months than years of existence. Chronopticon for 19 months. This subscription is for additional unnecessary zombies. Uh-oh. Thanks Too Much for 33 months. 33 months of showing up late for streams and having a blast anyway. Good job. Jamesian Jam for 9 months. I thought I would be too old to have a sub baby. Nope. D-Dubs for 1 whole year. Welcome, D-Dubs. Mozilla Delfox is a new subscriber. Welcome. Craig T. Nelson Shorts for 20 months. 20 months and my first sub in the new moon base. Wait, what? Miran Furzu is a new subscriber. Welcome. Inca Blink is for 9 months. Thank you. 38,911 basic bytes free for 18 months. It's twins. And thanks for 114 bits, Malk, and the softest bunny. He's so soft. So very soft bunny. You should grow a mad scientist beard like you used to have. Wait, what's a mad scientist beard? I don't know what a mad scientist beard is. Oh, the goatee. I mean, I have a goatee. I just also have other parts of a beard. I have a hidden goatee. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, for watching and joining me on this cool stream. And I will see you all tomorrow at noon Pacific time. Bye.